Politician Tiffany Henyard has lost another key ally. Until recently, Henyard enjoyed near unanimous support on the Thornton Township Board, but now trustee Carmen Carlisle says after trusting Henyard and remaining silent, she will be a whistleblower against Henyard. Carlisle released a statement to WGN that reads in part, "For the past 2 years, Henyard has manipulated employees, vendors, and residents using her position to increase her influence, all while projecting a false image of success funded by the hardworking taxpayers of Thornton Township and the village of Dalton. Henyard shows no accountability or conscience for her actions against employees or taxpayers."
In a shocking turn of events, a trustee known only as Carla, who was formerly among Mayor Tiffany's most ardent supporters, has turned into a whistleblower, exposing what she believes to be widespread corruption and mismanagement under the mayor's leadership. Been considered a loyal ally of Tiffany, supporting her choices and actions despite growing public scrutiny. Nonetheless, many in the tiny Illinois town of Dalton are astonished and perplexed by Carla's sudden decision to turn against Tiffany.
Matter if the whistleblower's identity can be kept private in a closed-door session.
I think that's the big if, and I think it was striking to see, as the senator pointed out, this was basically rejecting that request, which was coming from Republicans on the committee. That's one more piece of breaking news on this busy day. And I think it's a reminder that the federal laws that protect whistleblowers are, of course, written by the people in that. Whether the security rationales could be taken out in a way where this would be a classified setting and they wouldn't be exposed in any way, that's certainly possible, and at some point in the process could be an interesting thing to do. But against a backdrop where some of the people who are subject to the investigation have been calling to illegally expose the whistleblower, I think that vote looks more like of a piece of that intimidation and not necessarily a fact-finding request by the.
Critics surmise that Carla's apparent change of heart is not quite selfless. Some think that she is now speaking up, since she believes Tiffany's tenure as mayor is coming to an end.
Pair money, multiple millions of dollars from her own from her own town's bank accounts, okay? And it's wild, right? Millions of dollars. What I find really interesting about this situation is that it seems like the rest of the world who's been following this is following it because they all understood the assignment. They all understood what was going on. Now, it seems like one other board of trustees, okay, finally got the memo. Yeah, I think she finally got the memo.
Trustee Carmen Carlisle says after trusting Henyard and remaining silent, she will be a whistleblower.
She comes out saying, "I'm a whistleblower." Trustee turns on Tiffany Henyard. Let me just say this. It's about damn time. Dagnabbit, it's about damn time. Let's take a look at this article here, okay? And we're just going into her quote here because, again, maybe some of her trustees are finally starting to fall off bit by bit. It's just taking a little bit longer than expected, which is crazy. Today, I'm breaking my silence and speaking out against Thornton Township Supervisor and Mayor of Dalton, Tiffany Henyard, who I believe has engaged in unethical and predatory behavior throughout her tenure. Man, I gotta use this. Wow. Okay, and this is Carmen Carlisle, okay, who wrote this emailed statement to this news.
This line of reasoning suggests that Carla may be attempting to separate from the mayor in an effort to safeguard her personal reputation and prevent legal issues. The time. These concerns are somewhat supported by the timing of her revelations, which coincide with the escalation of Tiffany's administration inquiries.
Are finally catching up with Tiffany Henyard, the super mayor. The latest news that the Thornton Township trustee Carmen Carlisle, who used to be one of Henyard's biggest supporters, has turned on her. Now, this is not a big surprise, even despite the fact that Carlisle has been a rubber stamp for Henyard for a long time, but recently she's been fighting back and pushing back on Henyard.
Carla's choice to speak out was delayed, which begs various issues. Why did she keep quiet for so long? Was it because she was afraid of the influence Tiffany had? Was she involved in them? Behaviors that she now denounces. Some commentators speculate that because of Tiffany's enormous power in the local government, Carla would not have been brave enough to speak up sooner.
Carlisle has had enough of being the rubber stamp vote for Henyard's decisions, and now she is officially calling herself a whistleblower. This is a big deal because Carlisle was one of the people who helped Henyard stay in power for so long and allowed a lot of the stuff that was going on for the past couple of years. But now she's saying she's seen too much and she can't stay quiet any longer. So what is going on here? Why Carlisle is speaking out after all this time? It could be that she finally realized that Henyard has been manipulating her and a lot of people for a long time. And let's be honest, Carlisle could be just trying to save herself from the fallout that is bound to happen as more people see through Henyard's facade. Either way, it's become clear that Carlisle has been done playing along.
The fervor around the case and the possible consequences for those who venture to oppose the mayor might have sufficient to keep Carla silent up until this point.
Maybe she was just threatened in a violent fashion that made her scared. Or the veil of this smoke and mirrors, this veil of fake that Henyard was putting out here, this fake success and all that stuff. Maybe Carlisle was, I don't know, maybe she was getting lost in the sauce and was believing that this is a woman doing something really incredible and she was proud to be a part of it. But now suddenly the veil's been ripped off, like the rose-colored glasses have finally been ripped off her face. But apparently they say tomorrow at 9, or when you guys watch this, today at 9, 9 p.m., they're allegedly going to be putting out some things that Carlisle has given WGN9. So this is going to be interesting in regards to like credit card charges, etc. So this is going to be very, very interesting. Again, having a whistleblower does say something because, again, they already have a whistleblower in a way because one of the other trustees.
There are also suspicions that Carla's federal authorities may have been the source of her whistleblower. If Carla is in fact assisting federal investigators, this would put further pressure on Tiffany in addition to further jeopardize Carla's security threats to one's personal and professional safety are common for whistleblowers who reveal major misconduct, and there are worries that Carla might need to take further protection measures.
Because of his own legal situations, and he started to talk for some sort of plea deal, I don't know. But all I know is that there's somebody else that has turned against Tiffany Henyard. Is he a whistleblower? I like to call it that because I'm sure he's working with the powers that be that are trying to take Tiffany Henyard down. But this is really a whistleblower right here. And we're going to see what she exposes. But also, I hope she protects herself. Because if Tiffany Henyard does really operate in this type of fashion, I'm hoping she's got some protection around her, people taking care of her. Just make.
Tiffany appears to be nearing the end of her tenure as attorney, according to legal experts who note that the evidence against her is growing and that there is less and less possibility that she will be able to avoid going to jail. Clayton, just the beginning of Carla's revelations. Commencement of what looks to be an extensive and intricate probe of Tiffany's administration, there are many who criticize Carla in hopes that her bravery will encourage others who may know of wrongdoing to come forward and expose the mayor.
Super mayor might be going to a supermax prison very soon. The FBI issued multiple subpoenas in the last week, and now we know that a federal grand jury has been investigating Tiffany Henyard for corruption since November. I do not know what more they need to see. The residents of the town literally had a rally called Take Our Township Back last week. It won't be her first time behind bars, but unlike when she was arrested for vehicle trespass, and she is now facing 22 criminal charges, and her own lawyer just dropped out because guess what? She hasn't paid her bills, and the city now owes as much as $20 million. This is what happens when people who do not earn their position of authority get access to power. If you didn't know, while she was voted mayor back in 2021, the vast majority of her income and power really comes from her position as township supervisor, where she makes over $220,000 a year. But she only has that huge salary because she inherited it with the position from the predecessor who passed away. Tiffany actually passed an incredibly shady ordinance, so if somebody defeated her in the next election, their salary would only be 25 grand. So it's literally not worth it to run against her.
You know it's a bad situation when the residents think the best idea is to bring in Lori Lightfoot for $400 an hour.
It's so frustrating how slow the wheels of justice turn, but it feels like this story is starting to accelerate, and I hope the Dalton citizens don't have to wait much longer to see her in an orange pantsuit.
There are others who view Carla's choice to come forward as a whistleblower as a brave gesture that could serve as an example to others. Speaking up when corruption and wrongdoing are pervasive can frequently start a chain reaction that only requires one individual to break the quiet. According to Pay Reports, one of the most divisive topics surrounding Mayor Tiffany is that she is paid an annual salary of a total of $287,000. For the mayor of a small town like Dalton, which has a population of only 20,000, many people think that figure is outrageous.
She's also being accused of misusing taxpayer money to pay for lavish trips for herself and collecting a combined salary with the supervisor position and her mayor position of $287,000. This is a small town in Illinois, 20,000 people. The highest salary in our U.S. government is $400,000, and she's making just under $300,000. Now, before we go even further, just so you have a bit of an idea of some of the antics that Tiffany will pull off, this is her at a local public meeting dressed up as an infamous criminal kingpin named Nino Brown.
Nobody knows something. Don't nobody know nothing? Yeah. Nobody? Trustee? Nobody? Somebody knows something.
As were mounting and as questions were not being answered, the town voted on a unanimous resolution to probe and look at some of those financial details.
Last month, the board passed a resolution that required Henyard to turn in the village's financial records.
They're also requesting an investigation by the FBI, and some of these allegations, or accusations I should say, are so serious that even some local businesses are saying that their licenses and things that they need are not getting renewed after they made decisions to cut off ongoing financial donations to her campaign. So it's a pretty big deal, and this is one of the things that she was questioned on. She has this foundation, a cancer research foundation, that people are also wanting an investigation.
While the inquiry against Mayor Tiffany's administration is ongoing, residents of Dalton are left to speculate about what will come next. The town is already having financial difficulties, so it is unlikely that a protracted court dispute with their mayor will make things better.
Because he was investigating all of those credit card receipts and all those claims of her funneling taxpayer dollars into her privately owned cancer awareness charity, which you cannot do. And in one of those investigations that the chief of police was investigating, it stated here in this tweet, and shout out to this person for tweeting this, they said Mayor Tiffany Henyard is one of the most corrupt ever. She actually hired a child offender, overpays her police officers. She does. She overpays her police officers to be her security, which what do you need that much security for? You're a mayor of a town with about 20,000 people. One of the officers was paid $13,000 in 2 weeks for 300 hours of overtime. Because nobody believes that. Nobody believes that anybody worked 300 hours of overtime. So this has to be investigated because it looks like these numbers were being padded. So the chief of police, or the ex-chief of police, had his attorney investigate these claims, and they're standing behind them that there were allegations of corruption, and he was investigating them. Now I'm going to do a little bit more digging because I think there's a lot more to know about this Tiffany Henyard story because anybody who shows up to a city town hall meeting dressed like Nino Brown is definitely doing something that they shouldn't be doing.
The most urgent issue facing the town of Dalton is how to move past the scandal. The accusations made against Tiffany have already tarnished the town's reputation, and there is genuine concern that if further local government officials are found to have been involved, The financial malpractice that has already been exposed may be the tip of the iceberg, with potentially far more dire consequences.
Is the most controversial mayor in all of America. So this mayor named Tiffany Henyard is the mayor of a place called Dalton, Illinois. And essentially every single resident in Dalton wants Tiffany out of office. This is mainly because Tiffany's very controversial use of taxpayer money. For starters, Tiffany has a full security detail that goes everywhere with her in the town. This security detail is estimated to be about $250K a year. In addition to security, Tiffany also uses taxpayer funds to do things like buying billboards with her face and name on it. She also puts her name all over government vehicles and buildings throughout the town. And she even has her own 2024 calendar. And of course, she put her own birthday in the calendar. Now, in addition to all of this, Tiffany has also made it extremely hard for anyone to run against her. Currently, she makes around $225K a year. However, if someone were to run against her and win, they would not be getting anywhere close to what Tiffany's making. This is because Tiffany is proposing a 90% cut in her salary, but only if someone who is not her is elected. This would drop the pay from $225K to just $25K. Yet even with that massive pay cut, people still want to run against Tiffany just so they can get her out.
This is not the end of the financial mismanagement. Tiffany has been accused of diverting taxpayer funds for personal needs, according to reports regarding her remuneration and initiatives for self-promotion. Tiffany is alleged to have covered the entire city with public funds, purchased ads and promotional materials featuring her name and image.
Tiffany loves putting herself on some posters. If there's a poster in Dalton, Illinois, where she's the mayor, she's on it. That included Tiffany Henyard's Happy Martin Luther King Day poster, where she put herself on the poster very big and then put MLK in the bottom, in this little box, these two boxes. I guess you would say that was Martin Luther King's dream. Here we can see she wished everybody a happy Valentine's Day. Of course, she was on the photo. On the night of Valentine's Day, she held a party, which was, of course, a party not just for the town, but more specifically for herself and her friends at the town's ice skating rink. Here she is at it. This ice rink was really never supposed to be built because the town's in $1 million of debt. But Tiffany Henyard said, no, we're building it. And she then put out a video where she bragged about building it despite being told, no, don't build it.
Hey, y'all! It's your mayor, Tiffany A. Henyard, the people's mayor. We here in the village of Dalton and we about to get our skate on. Remember, when all 5 of them trustees said no, look what God did.
Things are looking a little murky for the future of Tiffany as the town has been ordered to release spending records.
For many locals, the fury is heightened by the news that the town is apparently in debt for $7 million. The things Tiffany did indicate a breach of the public's confidence, and there is a rising call for accountability.
Of lavish purchases. As you can see, the town's already $7 million in debt. She actually started her mayorship at $3.5 million in debt, and she has put it all the way up to $7 million. Those are some good numbers, Tiffany. At this Valentine's Day party on the skating rink, Tiffany had multiple security guards around her at all times as if she was the president. As you can see here. 1, 2, 3. Tiffany has also fallen under criticism for shutting down local businesses that don't contribute to her campaign. And as you can see here, she is dressed as the gangster Nino Brown from the movie New Jack City. Nino was a gangster in the movie. The New York Post actually picked up all of this absolutely insane behavior that she has really started to kick up this year and put in their newspaper, Chicago Burbs is a dictator mayor. For now, Tiffany remains the mayor. She also holds a role as a board member on the Thornton Township board. So she continues to be a powerful woman. And I hate to say this because truly there are probably people being negatively affected by this, but I hope this show goes on forever. I love her.
In a town the size of Dalton, the claims of corruption and self-enrichment are especially harmful since they highlight the exploitation of the community can be greatly impacted by even a modest amount of public funding.
All of this, by the way, is paid for by tax dollars. Everything you've seen and are about to see are paid for by the taxpayers. And it doesn't just stop at the billboards. As Fox 32 in Chicago points out, it is all over Dalton.
And you can't turn your head in Dalton or Thornton Township without seeing Henyard's picture or name. It's on all the government-owned vehicles, buildings, even on the rugs in the township, where we found a Tiffany Henyard 2024 calendar featuring all the important dates to remember, including her birthday.
Tiffany is essentially God in Dalton, Illinois, so it makes sense that she put herself on the gospel sign, and she's by far the biggest thing on it, and her name. Tiffany used to go by Super Mayor. Now she calls herself the People's Mayor. She put herself on the town's calendar and even put her birthday so no one would forget it. If you go over to Dalton, Illinois' YouTube, you will find almost every video starts with her name. Mayor Tiffany A. Henyard. Mayor Tiffany A. Henyard. Mayor Tiffany A. Henyard. 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 And we just keep going on. This is a level of branding I've never seen before. She took over a town and said, it's about me now. Tiffany also has a charity, which of course she named after herself, the Tiffany A. Henyard Cares Foundation. We will get into the charity in part 3 because you guessed it, it's out of control.
To these accusations, Tiffany has responded by brushing it off as one Ed story. She asked the citizens of Dalton in a recent public speech that the story being promoted by her detractors is unbalanced or incomplete, and that they should not trust what they see or hear.
How did you determine that all these individuals on the mayor's detail? Because somebody told you, because you didn't FOIA it, so somebody told you individual names. So reminding you that you putting them and me at risk. Because anybody that know anything about security, you don't tell people names, you don't give people positions, but y'all did that to this woman. Y'all didn't do that to Riley Rogers. Y'all didn't do that to Bill Shaw. Y'all didn't do that to Ronnie Lewis. You didn't do it to any of the men that sat in this seat before me that had a detail to them. So anybody that been here as long as I've been here, because remember I tell y'all all day long, I grew here. Everybody else flew here. Because at the end of the day, I could tell you about every single mayor and they detail that was attached to them. But now when this woman takes this seat, it's a shame that now it's a problem. How? It wasn't a problem before. I'm not doing anything different than what was wanted for the seat. And we're going to continue so you can understand why. So this one's asking, is it normal to vote for things that you guys saw, that you just heard in the board meeting? They voted for the individual to get paid. They voted for all of them to get paid.
That concludes today's video. Pay attention until the following instance.